There's a certain kind of magic in bringing a piece of history back to life. So today, we're going to get our hands dirty and dive into the meticulous art of radio alignment. It's part science, a whole lot of detective work, and just a little bit of sorcery. So, what does it really take to make a 70-year-old radio, a machine that's been silent for decades, sing again? Well, let me tell you, it's not just about fixing what's obviously broken. It's this incredible blend of science and artistry. You're basically coaxing a silent machine back into having a perfect voice. So our story starts with this beautiful old radio, but it's completely deaf to the world. And the solution isn't just swapping out some old parts. No, the real magic, the secret sauce, is in this incredibly delicate process called alignment. Think of it like this. You're tuning a really complex musical instrument. Every single tiny circuit, every component, has to be adjusted just so they all work together in perfect harmony. Only when you get that right can it actually pull music out of thin air. And here's something that might actually surprise you. Before you even think about touching the electronics, the very first step is purely mechanical. You have to get that physical dial pointer perfectly calibrated. Why? Because if what you see on the dial doesn't match what you're going to hear, well, all the electronic tuning in the world just isn't going to matter. Okay, so getting the dial right is step one. But the real adventure, the real challenge, begins when you crack open that original service manual. Honestly, it's like opening a time capsule. It's filled with this cryptic language that, back in the day, technicians were just expected to understand. And this is where that detective work I mentioned really kicks in. The manual isn't a friendly step-by-step guide. It's more like a set of clues. You have to translate all these terms from a bygone era, like turning test oscillator into what we now call a signal generator, or figuring out that microfarad is just an old-timey way of saying picofarad. Now, another piece of this puzzle is something called the automatic volume control, or AVC. The best way to think about it is like a governor on an engine. It basically throttles back the volume on really strong signals so they don't blow out your ears. But for alignment, you have to bypass it. You need the radio's ears completely wide open, listening for the absolute faintest signal it can find. So all of that leads us right to the traditional way of doing this, what's called the peaking method. This really is an art form. It's a process of tuning by feel, by ear, carefully nudging each little component until you hear that perfect, crystal clear tone. The whole thing is this delicate dance. You inject a super precise signal, then you adjust a transformer until your meter shows the highest possible voltage. That's the peak. Then you dial the signal way down and you do it all over again. With each pass, you're pushing the radio to become more and more sensitive. But here's the kicker. A secret the manual never tells you. If you don't add a 400 Hz audio tone to your test signal, your meter won't move at all. It's like this ghost in the instructions, this piece of assumed knowledge that really separates the folks who know what they're doing from everyone else. But let's ask a question. Is good enough really good enough? See, modern tools give us a whole new level of precision. They let us move from the art of tuning by feel to the science of tuning by sight. I mean, the peaking method gets you close, for sure, but it's kind of like painting in the dark. You're just aiming for a single number on a meter. How can you possibly know if the alignment is truly perfect? This is really where the art meets the science. The visual method, which uses a tool called a spectrum analyzer, lets you literally see the radio's response curve. It's like someone finally flipping on the lights in that dark room, revealing all these subtle imperfections the old method could never, ever detect. And this is what you're shooting for. Not just hitting a peak number on a meter, but shaping a perfect symmetrical waveform, centered exactly on the frequency you want. That right there is the difference between a radio that just works and a radio that truly sings. Okay, so with all the internal circuits now in perfect harmony, there's just one last thing to do. We have to make sure the dial itself is telling the truth. This last part is called dial tracking. You basically align the radio at the high end of the dial, then you adjust it at the low end. You keep rocking back and forth, making these tiny little tweaks until the pointer is dead on accurate across the entire range. And the result? Well, the result is a radio that isn't just repaired, it's reborn. It becomes so unbelievably sensitive, it can pull in faint, distant stations even while a powerful local signal is blasting nearby. It's just a stunning testament to what patience and precision can do. So you see, this is about so much more than just one old radio. It's really a story about the lost art of repair itself. And in our world of disposable, throwaway technology, it really makes you wonder, what else could we fix if we only took the time to learn the language of the machine?